a film that starts off with flashing lights, challenging those sensitive to seizures. After eliminating the vulnerable, we meet Ella, a woman assisting her mother in creating a stop-motion film with a one-eyed cyclops. Her mother has severe arthritis and can no longer work on the project herself, so Ella takes over under her mother's watchful, critical eye. Overcome by jealousy, her mother demeans Ella's efforts, insisting they redo the work. Frustrated, Ella heads to a bar to meet her boyfriend and his sister, who also works in stop motion. While working on the film the next day, the power goes out, and Ella's mother suddenly collapses into a coma. After visiting her in the hospital, Ella returns to her boyfriend's place, only to witness a disturbing vision of her mother, who then transforms into a heap of meat. Determined to honor her mother's final wish, Ella continues the film alone, moving into an almost deserted apartment building to focus on the project. Ella struggles to concentrate due to the persistent singing of a nearby girl in the building. She confronts the girl, who becomes intrigued by Ella's work. In an odd turn, Ella invites the girl into her apartment to view the project. The girl, unimpressed, suggests a new plot: a lost girl in the woods, followed by a mysterious figure. After the girl leaves, Ella dreams of the woods and discovers her mother's work destroyed, replaced by the new scene the girl described. Realizing its potential, Ella decides to adopt the girl's idea, discarding her mother's original concept. When Ella shares her progress with the girl, she remains unimpressed, demanding that Ella use decaying meat instead of clay. Though hesitant, Ella agrees, desperate for the story's continuation. The plot evolves as the girl in the story hides from the Ashman, who ominously knocks on the door for 3 nights. Ella's work is interrupted by a knock at her door one night, and she finds the girl wanting to show her a dead fox in the woods, proposing they use its flesh for the Ashman. Ella refuses, but the girl withholds the story's next chapter until she complies. Frustrated, Ella decides to proceed alone, realizing she's creatively stunted without the girl's bizarre guidance. At a party, Ella takes a substance offered by Tom's sister to spark creativity. After witnessing a violent incident, she's inspired to continue her work, heading to the woods to retrieve the fox's carcass. As she works on the film, Ella is observed by the girl, though we soon realize Ella is actually alone. The eerie presence of the Ashman begins to haunt her, as shadows outside her window and down the stairwell signal his approach. After a surreal encounter with a strange man, Ella is awakened by a concerned Tom, who reveals she was sober the previous night, aside from the fumes of decaying meat. Reviewing the footage from the night before, Ella sees her film depicting the very terror she experienced, a woman hiding from the Ashman. Deciding she needs a break, Ella retreats to Tom's place, but even there, she's haunted by visions, her legs momentarily transforming into modeling clay. The line between reality and fiction blurs as Ella's mind spirals. After a disorienting dream involving a stop-motion figure tearing open her leg, Ella is shaken back to reality. Later, at a cafe, she encounters the girl again, who insists they continue the story. The Ashman will soon touch his victim, and Ella distracts herself by accepting a job at a stop-motion studio, only to find she's stuck making endless eyeballs for puppets. Discovering her idea has been stolen by a colleague, Ella snaps, destroying the puppet and getting thrown out. After a mental conversation with her comatose mother, Ella realizes the film is all she has left and returns to her apartment to finish it. Confronting the girl, Ella tries to change the story's outcome, desperate to avoid the Ashman's touch. As she works, the apartment trembles and a grotesque version of the Ashman emerges from the dirt. Ella's body contorts as if made of clay, and she finds herself in a nightmarish version of her own story, fleeing from the creature. Trapped, Ella is touched by the Ashman, who drops a black egg into her mouth. Ella wakes in a hospital with a stitched leg, having been found near her building. Tom urges her to destroy everything related to the film, but Ella hesitates after her mother's death. Compelled to finish the project, she returns to the apartment, now taking orders from the girl. As Ella mutilates herself for the film, her previous creations begin to move independently, watching as she pulls out her stitches. Tom and his sister arrive, but Ella, now completely unhinged, kills them both to use their bodies in the film. The Ashman approaches as Ella hides, clawing at her clay-like face and offering it to the creature. He devours her face, and the egg inside Ella hatches. She finds herself in the woods, stumbling upon a house like the one in her movie, where she discovers the girl watching footage of Ella dying in the real world. Realizing she's no longer needed, Ella climbs into a box, accepting that this story has been hers all along and it could never be altered.